Hey, it hasn't been 15 minutes yet, but I'm feeling generous. You can play on the NES now. Michael handed the controller to Jason, feeling good about his kind act. Jason grinned widely and grabbed the rectangular controller, thinking about what to play. Michael wandered outside to play with Dad.
Hey son, want to play a game of catch?
Sure, Dad. Michael had a lot of fun once they started playing, and the time flew by. 40 minutes later, Dad asked,
Hey, isn't it your turn on the, doohickey?
Michael's eyes widened and he dashed into the house. You little brat! It's been way longer than 15 minutes and you didn't come get me? Even after my generosity? Michael yelled angrily. I've been caught! Jason was already out the door by the time the last syllable exited his mouth. Michael chased after Jason. With the age difference, it wasn't hard to catch up. Once Jason realized he had been caught, he apologized.
I'm sorry, Michael. I don't know why I wanted to do that. You gave me 5 minutes of your time.
Michael felt slightly better, so he turned around to go back to the house. A scream stopped him. Michael turned in a fury to see no one. His brother was gone! Without stopping for a second, he grabbed a long, sharp stick off the grass and ran into the forest. A ring of purple spheres formed around him. They grew in midair, levitating off the grass-covered forest floor. Michael looked around him in awe, admiring the odd sight. The spheres striked toward him at an incredible speed. They gripped him tightly, and everything around him started to look different. His house had completely disappeared, but he could see others forming. The shape of the landscape smoothly transformed from hills to plains. Hills appeared out of nothing, and the grass was going crazy. He could hear the faint screams of his brother in the distance. Michael was scared and confused. Michael pulled himself back to the moment and remembered his spear. With some effort, he wiggled his limbs free of this weird captor. Once his dominant hand was free, he drove the spear into the purple sphere. Everything stopped and the spheres shook, making him feel dizzy. The sphere grew smaller until it was nothing, but the spear disappeared instantly. The sphere squeezed him tighter, making it hard to breathe. Then he saw it. Another one of these weird things spawned beside him, and his brother was trying to escape. Jason, are you okay? Michael yelled to Jason.
What's going on, Michael?
I don't know. Michael spoke with an uneasy tone. Jason had never seen him be so unsure of something. This thought worried him. Then everything started to shift again, and Jason disappeared. He was suddenly inside of a giant mouth. But not a normal mouth. This mouth had no opening. It was just the red fleshy color all around. Even weirder, there was no throat. There was teeth at the top and bottom as well. Then the spherical mouth started to get shorter and shorter. He was going to be eaten by this weird beast that makes no sense. Michael heard a battle cry from someone inside his head. A lady with disconnected arms and legs. Like sometimes there was a gap between her shoulder and bicep. As she moved, it smoothly changed. Sometimes the gap was gone completely. Her hand would stop existing randomly, too. She seemed to be carrying a spear, but it's hard to tell because most of the time it didn't exist. She looked over at me, and then back at the walls of the mouth. She threw a spear to the mouth, and the beast bellowed in pain, and after a few seconds, the mouth disappeared. Thank you! What is happening here? Who are you, and why do your arms not exist sometimes? How are your limbs just... She cut me off and spoke in broken English with an accent I was not familiar with.
It's just what we do. We am the Dimensional Keepers. We protect simpler beings like you from the Dimension Lords. I normally would not be able to talk you this, but you spear well. Would you like to be team?
She tried to put her hand out, but it wasn't there.
Oh, sorry. Wrong cross-section.
Her hand began to grow out of thin air. I was silent for multiple seconds.
I talk you later. I hear your brother.
I was left standing there, out in this forest that looks like my own, but my house was gone. I waited 10 minutes, and then she was back with Jason. She grabbed both of us by the arms, and her legs disappeared, only occasionally existing. Everything started to shift, and eventually everything was back to normal.
Do you want to play a board game?
Jason sheepishly asked his older brother. Yeah, anything that doesn't involve going outside, Michael responded.